Welcome back everyone. We're reacting today to part 2 of realistic Pokemon biology. In case you haven't seen that video, the link is in the description. Go check it out, it was fun and you got a bit of views, so here's part 2. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Curious Archive and Arceus, who will also be linked in the description if you want to check them out. They make really cool videos and stuff. Anyway, here is part 2 of realistic Pokemon biology.
Welcome back to Curious Archive. This video is the second half of a series exploring the biology and ecosystems of realistic Pokemon. The Realistic Pokemon Art Project was
oh my goodness, hold on, we see Bomber Snow, Nuivan, Lugia,
and support his work. This
yeah, don't forget to support Arceus. He's a beast. She's a beast.
Pokemon. But please remember the disclaimer from the first video. These realistic life forms are an exciting speculative exercise, but not an attempt to somehow improve the stylized designs of the original games. They're just fun
Is those teeth?
Imagine Pokemon in something closer to real
It's like a baby version of it. So much detail in these pictures. It is mad.
With that said, let's jump into part 2 of our nature documentary of Another World, and return to the astonishing domain of realistic Pokemon. Beginning with Gen 2 starters, we have Meganium and its pre-evolutions. The designs of these creatures take inspiration from sauropods, but also from modern tortoises. And while tortoises have evolved to eat grasses, Palmer imagines the long necks of Meganium help them reach their preferred food of treetop fungi.
Goodness, it's like a giraffe now or something.
The end of Meganium's nostrils are actually a unique strain of fungi, which Palmer states the Titans have a symbiotic relationship with, although the exact purpose of this is unknown. The flower-like structure on the front of their shell is not a plant, however, but a brightly colored frill that mimics flower petals. This might seem strange, but animals camouflaging themselves as plants has been documented numerous times in nature, like insects whose wings have evolved to resemble leaves. Up next, we have Typhlosion and its pre-evolutions, reimagined with greater detail and anatomical plausibility. In its claws and fur pattern, this reimagining resembles a cross between some sort of badger and
spikes that burn.
Imagines Typhlosion feeds primarily on comb bee hives, and the wax from the hives has a chemical reaction with Typhlosion saliva.
I never got what animal Typhlosion was, I always thought it was like a bear.
Tongues to coat their quills in this chemical, and then light them on fire using specialized flint-like heat. The blazing quills are an intimidating display and can burn for long periods thanks to Typhlosion's fire-resistant coat. A really original explanation. And the last starter from the Hoenn region is Feraligatr and its pre-evolutions, rendered in all their reptilian glory. Not surprisingly, Feraligatr is most analogous to Earth alligators or crocodiles. Palmer imagines this life form as a large, opportunistic carnivore, lurking in coastal estuaries and frequently traveling between salt and freshwater habitats.
And it looks
I'd probably watch my step in the rivers with these giants around. Moving beyond Generation 2, we have the incredible desert-dwelling Flygon. Palmer envisions that this swift aerial life form possesses a helium bladder that helps the large organism achieve flight.
It is flying, its name.
The surface of the desert.
I'm just gonna start ranting about that. I can't forget the video.
Which protects their eyes from the sands. And on the sands, near some other interesting desert fauna I'll let you classify on your own, we can find a Trapinch and a Vibrava, both reimagined to look like they could more feasibly be early stages in a Flygon's life cycle. In this alternative world, millions of years ago, large prehistoric Pokemon stomped across the land, now known to scientists in the form of fossils. Taking inspiration from the games, Palmer imagines recent technology has revived these long-extinct species, like the mighty Tyrantum and the lumbering Bastiodon, pictured here locked in combat, and poses reminiscent of classic dinosaur art. Not surprisingly, Palmer has based his Tyrantum off the T-Rex, and has imagined its beard as a scaly, soft-tissue pouch that could flare out to intimidate rivals. It's exciting to
imagine just love their intimidation tactics.
The primordial landscape of the Pokemon world 100 million years ago. It almost makes me want to visit a Pokemon museum of natural history. Another fossil Pokemon you might find at such a museum is that of Aerodactyl. Now resurrected as living creatures, the Aerodactyl are now known.
We looked at this one last time, I remember. The detail in the skin and the wings
on their necks. Elsewhere in this image, one can also spot an Archen and a Cranidos, further fleshing out the world of prehistoric Pokemon. Deep in the midst of a past ice age, the mighty legendary Pokemon Kyurem reigned supreme. Here, Palmer has redesigned the stylized armor of the original as more biological plating. The Kyurem was a creature of almost insurmountable power. The legendary beast Raikou, imagined here as a Smilodon-like Ice Age hunter, would sometimes take the risk and try to ambush this titan. Though a bite of a Raikou could take out most Pokemon, Palmer imagines it had less effect on Piloswines, depicted in this image as Ice Age megafauna with coats so thick they provide a natural defense from the teeth of whatever else might be stalking
I always
the
called it
tundra.
Piloswine.
In modern polar and mountainous biomes, one might find the elusive Abomasnow, portrayed as a curious, heavily furred biped that Palmer imagines were unknown to Pokemon scientists until the turn of the century, when a specimen was at last documented. Sharing the frigid biosphere with these seldom glimpsed creatures are the elk-like Pokemon Winter Sawsbucks and the penguin-like Delibird. Another lifeform in this image is the infamous Mr. Mime, reimagined as a species somewhere between a frog and an axolotl. And honestly, I find this redesign a bit nicer to look at than the original.
Nicer.
In the cave systems,
imagine that thing showing up to your window at 12.
Palmer has reconceptualized as a creature more closely related to bat Pokemon like Swoobats. A single Noivern can claim miles of cave systems as their territory.
Swoobat looks like so cool.
Sonic frequencies. Swoobats are their smaller cousins,
Swoobat's
and
one
look
of my
much
favorite
closer
Pokemon
to a traditional bat here on Earth. And if you look closely, you can see Joltix clinging to the fur of these species. Palmer imagines these small arachnid Pokemon can create static charges by nestling into the fur of other fluffy Pokemon. Pretty creative. One massive Pokemon Palmer redesigned is Onix and its evolution Steelix. Instead of being made of literal rock, Onix is depicted as a massive serpentine lifeform with rock-like scales. Likewise, a Steelix isn't fully metallic. Instead, exposure to its natural environment transforms its scales into shiny, metallic-looking armor. This process almost reminds me of a scaly-foot snail, a type of marine gastropod that incorporates iron sulfide into protective scales on its body.
I like the detail that goes into this.
I could see Steelix perhaps undergoing a similar process to form its own protective scales. And holding on to dear life at the end of these creatures' tails, you can perhaps spy a Sableye, reimagined not as a ghost, but as a tiny primate with strange eyes similar to a Tazier. Palmer describes this species as attracted to shiny objects, which unfortunately for this Sableye included the metallic scales of a Steelix. Under the waves, the aquatic leviathan Gyarados takes on the role of apex predator in almost any aquatic ecosystem they inhabit. This creature recalls the appearance of a deep-sea oarfish, which can grow up to 26 feet or 8 meters in length. Smaller than this version of Gyarados, but still pretty incredible. Palmer imagines the marine biologists of this world for decades didn't realize the comparatively tiny Magikarp were early forms of Gyarados, which makes sense. And nearby, a greater underwater ecosystem flourishes, including Cloyster and a Relicanth, all looking closer to the real-world animal influences. Returning to legendaries, we have the awe-inspiring Pokemon Zapdos, an enormous bird with an incredible electric discharge. Instead of being an elemental deity, this version of Zapdos has an extreme capacity for electricity retention, seeking out thunderstorms high in the atmosphere and gathering electricity like a living lightning rod. A very interesting reimagining. Another electric Pokemon is Raichu, the evolution of Pikachu.
Raichu looks very cool.
As you might have already spotted, this image also contains Voltorb, reimagined as a Pokeball mimicking Armadillo, and Magnemites and Magnetons as magnetic crabs with red and blue colored claws. In my opinion, truly hilarious designs for some of the most outside-the-box and challenging original Pokemon.
I don't know why they chose crab.
Another ancient and seldom seen legendary is Lugia, redesigned as a lifeform with more streamlined aquatic features. This guardian of the seas looks like something from the Plesiosauria order, just even larger. Near Lugia are some additional species like Quillfish and Seadra, all of which have far more detail than in their original designs. In the skies,
I
the
don't
immense
remember the movie.
legendary
Whoa,
Yall,
whoa.
redesigned here as an avian super predator, casts a dark shadow over most flying types whenever it comes out of its deep hibernation.
It is huge. Why is
designing
Salmon so
this
tiny?
ancient creature, Palmer took inspiration from the late Jurassic feathered dinosaur HEHH, an animal whose wings are perhaps the closest thing nature has ever produced to a dragon's. Swooping just out of reach of Yveltal's claws are Latios and Latios. With this duo, Palmer has merged the stylized, airplane-like elements of the original designs with the anatomy of various real-life bird species, creating more plausible but still agile-looking life forms.
And it actually looks like they can fly now.
You can spot a scalier-looking salamence, whose wings, according to Palmer, are formed from membranes extended over an enlarged set of ribs. This might seem far-fetched, but real-life Draco lizards are capable of gliding flight thanks to a set of wings that are, indeed, supported by their elongated ribs, as you can see by this skeleton. And since we touched on Groudon in part 1, we have to touch on its oceanic counterpoint, Kyogre, which looks downright awe-inspiring in realistic detail. Palmer imagines this legendary as a leviathan somewhere between a whale and the absolute largest of marine reptiles. To capture prey, Kyogre can use a dazzling bioluminescent display to lure in smaller species like Tentacruel. Above the feeding Kyogre, a swarm of Frillish and Jellicent drift by, their anatomy much closer to that of an earth jellyfish. And if you look closely, you might have spotted Sharpedo, whose stylized body has been reworked with a design that takes inspiration from sharks, of course, but also ocean sunfish, a strange and truncated-looking organism. This Sharpedo is going up against the nautilus-like Amistar, another prehistoric species that was recently revived. And as our grand finale, we have the mythical and legendary Rayquaza, looking truly epic and realistic detail. This mighty serpent is exhibiting an unknown display of bioluminescence as it soars through the upper atmosphere, a sight that would be intimidating to behold. Exactly how such a creature is capable of flight is unknown, and would likely require a variety of specialized flight organs. Believe it or not, there is a type of snake called a paradise tree snake that can glide for brief periods by leaping off trees, holding its body flat, and curving in a way which allows it to coast through the air. Rayquaza, of course, is taking this to a new level. And there's an entire aviary of flying types flocking in Rayquaza's shadow, including Pidgeot, Braviary, and others, all of whom look much more like birds you might see here on Earth. And with that, we've covered the majority of realistic Pokemon in the project. If you want to dive even deeper into this world, there are extra designs, including some additional legendaries, on RJ Palmer's.
I saw a lot of things that amazed me. I saw a Kyogre, I saw Groudon in the last one, I saw Yveltal that looked like a chicken. Actually, no, it didn't look like a chicken. It looked completely different. It was like a prehistoric dinosaur. That was amazing. All of it was amazing. Arvalis, this is to you. Where is my milk tea? I've searched your 2 videos. Oh no, this guy's Curious Archives videos. I've scanned your website. I haven't seen anything. And I'm disappointed. I'm kidding. But shout out to Arvalis. He did an amazing job of this. Go check out his stuff. Great. See if you find your favorite Pokemon, and if you like it, yeah. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe here. I appreciate it heaps, and it helps me make more videos like this. And yeah. Anyway, that's all from me. Cue the outro music.